supporting you in your dog parenting journey. The Dynamic Dog Owner with Debbie Potter.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Dynamic Dog Owner, the podcast designed to support you, the dog parent, in your dog parenting journey. So, very, very exciting this week's episode. I'm going to be telling you about my new arrival. So, I have 3 dogs and I've been wanting a 4th dog for a really long time. And my husband said, when we move house, you can have a new dog because we'll have a bit more space, we'll have a bigger garden, and it'll be really nice. So we moved house, and we don't have a new dog, but instead we have a kitten. So I am not a cat person, or so I thought. We have never had a cat, never thought about having a cat, never wanted a cat. So why the hell do I have a kitten? My daughter loves kittens, cats, loves them. Don't know where it came from, but she started seeing them on our walks. She started befriending some. We used to go on a walk every single day of the week to meet our cats at our old house. She had friends. She would puss, they'd come jumping over fences and run towards her. Literally, they'd spot her and run across the road. She loves cats. We also went to a lot of cat cafes. She went, Mum, I'd love my own cat. I went, absolutely not. You've got 3 dogs. We can't possibly have a cat. Don't be silly. You've got 3 dogs. What do you want a cat for? Don't like cats. For 3 years, the cat obsession has stayed. She has not stopped the cat obsession. I thought she would. I thought it would be I've gone off cats. And I said to her, one of these times, you just go, shit, I shouldn't have said that. I said, well, when we move, we might have room for a cat. She was like, great. So when we move, I can have a cat then. I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, okay. When we move, we'll consider getting a cat. Thinking again, she'd go off them. So a year later, we moved house. Can I have my cat now? I said, well, we're going on holiday. Oh, no, I said, we're getting a garage conversion. So we converted the garage. We can't do it until after that because it wouldn't be fair on the kitten. It'd be too noisy, what have you. And then the garage conversion was booked in. So it's going to be finished on that day. I said, then we're going on holiday. So can't do it if we're going on holiday. And then I ran out of excuses, quite simply. Now, she's been talking about this for a little while. She has done a lot of research on it. She's researched all different types of cats. She's researched what cats need, how we have to live with them. She's done so much work on wanting a cat. And I get sent cat videos every 5 minutes. She has done the research, and we were talking about rescue versus kitten, and we were saying that, a rescue cat, its personality, but naturally, it might, obviously we'd have to have one that already lived with dogs. It might be a little bit harder to integrate it into the family because it's not lived with dogs. So we plumped for, okay, well, when the time comes, you can have a kitten. So whilst we were on holiday, I was like, right, I've run out of excuses. She's going to ask me as soon as we get home. So I started looking. And we found a kitten, we've now got a kitten. So, bonkers is all I can say. So the decision's been made, or the decision had been made. He arrived last week, so let me tell you about what we've done. Naturally, I've been panicking because my dogs have never lived with a cat before. I'm not really a cat person, never had a cat, family have never had a cat, always had dogs. And only dogs. So I don't really know much about cats in terms, I've always just seen, a lot of people say, cats are aloof, cats are their own thing, they do their own thing, they don't really want to know you, they don't want affection, they don't come and see you, that kind of, I was like, oh, what would I want that for then? I've got dogs, and my dogs love me a bit too much. And I assumed that, having 3 big dogs, adult dogs who've never lived with cats, I was like, it's going to be a nightmare. And the house we were buying was perfect because it had a massive garden, and it had a tiny little kind of snug room, I suppose, which I was like, well, that can be the cat room, easy. And then it can have a catio, simple, you can just live in there. The house fell through, but obviously she said, but you said when we can move house, but get one. So that's me stumped. So our current house isn't quite as suitable for a cat. We don't have a spare room downstairs that doesn't have like a door to it and things that cat couldn't get out, etc. But couldn't go back on my word. So we researched this kitty cat, and I've been preparing the dogs quite simply. Now, the 3 dogs I have a fair idea of who is going to do what with the cat. So Rem is so placid around cats, it's unreal. It comes back to, I think, when he was about 6, 7, 8 months old, I can't remember. I was stood talking to a neighbour and their cat came out and we were talking probably for about half an hour, and I used it as an amazing opportunity to just teach him cats are cool. So every time he looked at the cat, he got a treat, and the cat came like right up to him, and he didn't care less. So he's had a good interaction with cats since he was tiny, and that's continued. He would come on Susie with my cat walks, and meet the cats, and some of them would be really brave. Some of them would come up to him and just sort of sit, a metre away. He was never really bothered. So I thought he would, as if he's never had a cat in his house before, but I thought, you know what, he'll be fine. Dave, he's such a big oaf. He's welcomed so many puppies and he's so polite to puppies. He's really communicative and he just wants to be everyone's friend. He did play with a kitten when he was a puppy. Never again since, because I've not had a cat that I could do it with. So I thought, maybe he'll be all right. Who knows? Fred, I thought would be terrified because he's very sensitive, he's very timid, he's a bit wary, and he likes to bark. So I was like, him and a cat is just going to be awful. And he likes to chase things that move. So he chases birds, loves to chase a bird. So I was like, this could be the interesting one. But do you know what? In for a penny, in for a pound, let's do it. I can't disappoint my girlie who's wanted a cat for such a long time. So we've been talking about it for a really long time. It's not a rush decision. So we prepared the house. So let me tell you a few of the things we've done because I think it's really useful. I'd say as a dog trainer, we work with a lot of people who say, I've got a puppy, what about my cat? And the cat's there first. So the cat is already settled in, already has its routine, knows its house, etc. Happy cat. And then we bring in a puppy. But very rarely do I hear of it the other way around. Not saying it's not been done before, but it's not something I've ever helped with. It's not something anyone's ever come to me with. And I think maybe I'm wrong, correct me if you disagree, but it tends to be that a cat, obviously a cat is less of a commitment in a way. Obviously it's still a commitment, it's still an animal you're responsible for, but they don't need walking every day. They're quite independent. You can go away and leave them. You haven't got to worry about separation anxieties, etc. It's not as common. You can go away on holiday and just leave them in the house, someone pop in to feed them. So they're almost like a starter pet. You've got your house plant, then you've got your starter pet. So they are a pet, but they're less of a commitment than a dog. So it tends to be like a starter pet, and then when people's lives change, they go, right, now I can get a dog because I'm home more, etc. So that is why I think it tends to be the other way around and not much the other way. So it's not something I've ever helped with. It's not something I've ever sort of done much around. So it's all been a bit new. So what we've done is we've basically, our house looks like a prison. There's stair gates everywhere. So we already have a stair gate on the stairs, on the kitchen, because we've always had one, just because. I don't really know why. We've got a door. So I don't know, but we've always had one on the kitchen. So that's staple. Now the cat's room is my daughter's bedroom. I said, if you want a cat, you've got to have it in your bedroom. Should even the litter tray? I said, yes, even the litter tray. So that's in her bedroom too. She's not happy about it, but tough. So there's a stair gate on her bedroom door. I've then put a stair gate at the bottom of the stairs so that when the cat's more confident, it can come around and be upstairs, and the dogs can stay downstairs. I don't want the dogs to stay upstairs yet, unsupervised, near the cat or by the cat's door. So obviously there's a stair gate, but 3 dogs, 1 cat, if they all run at the gate, I'm sure it'd push it over. So we have double effectively. And since yesterday, we now have a 4th gate, which I'll explain. So we've got loads of stair gates all over the place. We've then been playing cat sounds. So throughout our holiday, I was playing cat meowing sounds to the dogs so that they could get used to the sound of meowing. Because again, it's not something they've heard in the house before. I've then stocked up on a shitload of chews and treats because I want to create a lot of positive association around the cat and them. What else have we done? Trying to think. Oh, I've bought like a cat shelves. So I don't know if you ever come across them, but basically it's like a cat obstacle course on shelves that are up high, because there's not really anywhere high in our living room he could run to. So we could run up the stairs, but then he's got to go all the way up the stairs. So these cat shelves kind of go off the stairs and onto the stairwelly bit. So we've got cat shelves for him to go up on. What else have we done? I'm trying to think. Can't remember. But anyway, so the cat flap on my daughter's bedroom has got the stair gate on my daughter's bedroom has got a cat flap in it. So that in theory, he can come in and come and go out of that room as much as he likes when he's bigger. But I can lock it too, which is great. So when obviously I'm out, the dogs and cats on their own, I can lock it. Now, we brought the cat home about 5 days ago. So we're on day 5 of this. And my verdict, and everyone laughed at me after day 1 because they were like, just you wait. My verdict on day 5 is cats are so much easier, kittens, so much easier than puppies, so much easier. Why did I not know this before? They toilet train themselves. So you literally just put his litter tray down and he just takes himself off whenever he's ready. None of this, oh God, he's weed on the carpet. None of this, every 20 minutes, let the puppy out for a wee. So much easier. So much easier. He equally sleeps through the night, doesn't care. He just finds himself comfortable wherever he wants to be. No crying. No, oh, don't leave me. Amazing. He sleeps. He doesn't care if we leave him. He doesn't panic. He doesn't chew stuff yet. I don't know if cats do that. But yeah, so much easier. Why have I not discovered this before? So first thing we did when they came in was obviously, we've set the new rules that dogs aren't allowed upstairs now unless supervised. So if I'm going upstairs, they're allowed to come with me, which is completely new to them because they've never had that rule. It's always been the house is yours, you go where you like. So it's a little, obviously these rules are temporary while cat settles in. Once they're all happy with each other, however long that might take, the rules will subside and they'll be back upstairs wherever they want to go. But I want to just rein it in for now. I want to make sure, we talk about dog training, set everyone up for success. So I'm setting the dogs and the cat up for success. The dogs now aren't allowed upstairs unless I'm going with them, which is fine. So it just means they haven't got free access to upstairs. And the cat can come and go as he wants out of his flap. However, I did realise he can come out of the bars, which for now I'm like, no, you're too small to be unsupervised with the dog. So I put some mesh over them. And I also didn't realise he can get through the one downstairs as well. I thought it was a bit narrower. So with all the dogs, they haven't fully been introduced yet. So the dogs were all in the living room, sound asleep. And all of a sudden there was a kitten at the bottom of the stairs. I was like, oh dear, go back upstairs before they eat you, please. So we've now got another little barrier at the bottom of the stairs. So there's like an airlock, again, that he shouldn't be able to get through. Where there's a will, there's a way. And obviously he's going to get bigger. But anyway, so day 5. So all the dogs were in the garden. We brought the cat in because I was like, read all about it. Cats need de-stressing. I've used Pet Remedy. Cat seems to like it. So that's amazing that it works just as well for him as it does for the dogs. And obviously giving dog cat a few days to just be happy and comfortable in the house. The dogs have been able to watch him through the stair gate, and I've been rewarding them for watching him. So saying, you're seeing a cat, have a treat. Cats produce good things. It's only been when they've stared at each other for too long, they've then had a little woof or something. But cat just sits there. He's the most confident little cat in the world, and he's just sitting and staring at them back. So obviously that's been going on for a couple of days. And then I've started to give the cat a bit more freedom. So I've been propping, he can't work the cat flap yet. So I've been propping the cat flap up when I'm sat downstairs with the dog so I can see when he goes downstairs. And he's been coming to the top of the stairs and like looking. He seems desperate to make friends with the dogs, but they're not quite sure yet. Not en masse anyway. And he's been coming sort of halfway down the stairs, and then they spot him. One of them gets taken by surprise and he runs back upstairs again, but he's really confident. And now, obviously with 3 dogs, it's really different to having just one, because I'm appreciative that the dogs will naturally, if one does something, they're all likely to go, oh, well, I'll join in. So if one barks, they all go, what did you bark at? And they all bark, which is quite intimidating for this poor little kitten, because he's so teeny tiny. And obviously the cat, I want him to be really confident around the dogs. So I don't want him to feel scared. So I want him to feel confident. So the introductions we've been doing so far have been one-on-one. And I'm only on literally day 2 of doing this. So I'm super duper proud of how quickly it's progressing. Dave happens to have had 2 appointments at home yesterday and today. So it's been perfect that we've had then about 20 minutes where he's in the house by himself after his appointment before the other 2 come home, because they go out for a walk while he's having his appointment. It works quite well. And we've brought the cat down. So I've put Dave on a lead and harness because I want to be in control of the situation. I want to be able to redirect him should I need to. Obviously, cat will just run away. And yesterday he was like, oh my God, what is it? What do I do with it? And he's seen it through the fence. And actually, he's been the worst, which has surprised me. He's been barking the most. But I was 90% sure it was just frustration that he couldn't get to him and wanted to like say hi. But I was like, no, he's tiny. You can't go near the kitten. But yesterday he was like interested, watching him, looking at him, looking away for treats, and then kind of wanted to go a bit closer. I was like, no. First introduction, let's take it a bit slower. Today we did the same thing. Super freaking proud. Brought the cat down and placed him on the sofa. So he just curled up and was like, this is comfy. Such a chill little cat. My God, he's so chill and so confident. It's lovely. And Dave, we did a little bit of watching the cat, watching me, watching the cat, watching me. And I thought, do you know what? I think this is frustration. I know what he's like with puppies. I think he's going to be fine. So I let him approach Kitty Cat. And he went a little bit closer and she just hissed at him. And then he went, oh, and he walked away. And then he got a little bit closer again and she hissed again. And he hissed again. And then Dave backed off again. And then the third time he went over and like bounced and went, woof, as if to say, play with me. And she went, no, and hissed at him back. And then he backed off. And that was it. Like, literally, he then was like, I'll wander over and I'll look at you, but I promise I won't get too close. And he was just wandering over, sniffing, like looking at him. Why do I keep saying her? For goodness sake, it's a him. He's just so pretty. And then Cat didn't need to hiss anymore. So literally 3 hisses and Dave was like, I get it. Okay, that means back off. So he was like going over, and then I thought, do you know what, this is going so well, I'm going to drop the lead. So he still had his lead on, so I could grab it if I needed to. But then he just was like wandering over to the cat, looking at him. He looked at him back, no hissing. They even had little nose-to-nose sniff. Then Dave curled up and went to sleep in front of the sofa next to him. And I was like, wow, that is epic. Obviously, Kitty Cat has been completely still and not moved yet. I think when he moves, that'll be different. And I started stroking him today whilst we were there. But oh my God, I am converted. I am now a cat person. I did not know this. So I think before I have just never been around a cat enough. And I think there's something about a baby, isn't there? Like, he is a teeny tiny little kitten. I should probably tell you his name. He's called Edelweiss. Unique. I know, my daughter picked it. She wanted a cat called Edelweiss. So he is Edelweiss. Can't shorten it. I'm not allowed to shorten it. It's Edelweiss. But I'm amazed at how much I like him and how much I'm absolutely in love with him already. I'm very protective of him. Dogs, don't be horrible. Be nice to him. Because they have been a little bit uncertain, which is understandable because, you know, there's a new thing living in their house. And naturally, we're kind of keeping them a little separate. But actually, I think them being around each other more is going to help. So I know Dave can be super duper friendly with him when he's still. So the next thing is getting the other dogs doing exactly the same thing. But I think that's my experience I've had this week. Anyway, Raph waffled on about that for a little while. Sorry, guys. But in terms of preparing for a cat, I think you have to know your dog. You know, I know that all of my dogs are used to living with each other. They're used to communicating. They're used to being quite polite with each other. Yes, they can be arses sometimes because that's human nature, right? Yes, they have disagreements or whatever, but it's all very polite. They're all very good with each other. So I figured, there's no maliciousness there. I don't think any of them would want to hurt him. I think they'd just be curious and wary of him. So I thought the dogs themselves, they're not terrier breeds. Obviously, naturally, terrier, lurchery, sight hound, that kind of hair coursey breed or ratting breed might find it a little bit harder. I don't know, especially from bringing a cat in rather than being a puppy and growing up with. So I figured, they're the right kind of breed. All they'll probably do is pick him up and carry him to me. I hope they don't do that while he's little. Gosh, let's hope he doesn't. I don't think he'd let them. But you know what I mean? I know my dogs and I think they're not malicious. There's no aggression in them. Not that I would trust them together yet for a very, very long time, but I'm 99% sure they can create a good relationship. And I think it's preparation, isn't it? It's making sure the cat's got their safe space and has got everything they need in that safe space, and ways to get away from the dogs if he needs to. So, you know, we will be getting downstairs a big cat tower. Obviously he doesn't need it yet. So he can jump up. We've got these cat shelves. Again, he hasn't used yet, but I'm sure he will at some point. He's got escape routes and he feels safe. And then the dogs have been exposed to the sound. We're having controlled interactions to build up their confidence. I'm so excited for the journey of having a cat. Never thought I would ever say that, because I didn't think I was a cat person. And the compromise was, look, we'll have this cat, but it's your cat. You've got to look after it. You've got to do everything with it. We'll tolerate it, type thing. Like, maybe I wasn't accepting how much I just fall in love with it. Maybe I was being a bit mean, but I was like, you know, nobody else really wants the cat. And I would never have chosen to have a cat. It's only because she wanted to. But oh my God, he's gorgeous. And I'm totally a cat person, my cat person now. But it can be done. So I'm going to check back in with this topic every now and again, just to tell you about our progress. And obviously we're going to monitor it on social media. So keep an eye. If you don't follow us yet, check out Potter Paws on POTTERPAWS on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm going to keep an eye on monitoring. What's it called? Monitoring? Document. That's the word. Document the journey so that you can see kind of where we go. And how our progress goes. And I'm definitely also going to be recording of how to introduce a cat to your dog household into the Pawcademy. So everything I'm doing at the moment, I'm filming it so we can see that journey, and then obviously maybe it'll help someone else if they decide to get a cat with a dog too. Hopefully it's useful. Check out socials for cute pictures of kittens. Oh my God. And yeah, hopefully it's useful. Any questions you've got, you know, if you've got dogs and thought, I couldn't have a cat, or vice versa. So I'm not professing to be an expert in cats or this, but I can definitely share my experience. So any questions, thoughts, tips, let me know. Tips definitely required if you've had cats before. But yeah, hopefully it's been useful. Sharing my journey of it so far. And if it's something you've considered or not considered, it can definitely work. I think it's going to be a success. I think they're all going to be friends eventually. But yeah, I'll keep checking in with you and letting you know how it goes. But at the beginning stages, say 5 days in, I am quietly confident that they're all going to be best mates. Have a good week. Share your cat tips and questions in the comments, and I'll see you all soon.
If you love listening to the podcast, why not check out the Potter Pawcademy for practical dog training advice and how-to videos. The hub is broken down into sections, and hundreds of pre-recorded videos are there for you to start watching whenever you choose. You can watch them back as many times as you like. You also get to talk to other community members and discuss your training, and benefit from live Q&As with myself where you can get your questions answered. Why not make use of our 3-day free trial where you can access all of the content on the hub absolutely free for 3 days. The link is in the description below, so do check that out. And I can't wait to see you in the hub. Thank you for listening to The Dynamic Dog Owner with me, Debbie Potter. See you next time.